So tell us your chosen number.
Number 8.
Yes.
Okay. Here is your question. Number 1. Which of the following is known as the roof of the world? A. Inner Mongolia Plateau. B. Yunnan Guizhou Plateau. C. Qinghai Tibet Plateau.
My answer is C, the third one.
Correct. Number 2. Which of the following is not the work of Qu Yuan? A. 9 changes. B. 9 songs. C. 9 chapters.
My answer is C.
Sorry, the correct answer is A. Number 3. When did Queen Elizabeth II become Queen of England? A. 1912. B. 1932. C. 1952.
My answer is C.
Yes, correct. Number 4. Which of the following works was created by Van Gogh?
My answer is A.
Correct. Number 5. Which of the following statements is correct? A. Stereotypes are negative and overgeneralized opinions applied to all members of group. B. Prejudice is behavior towards an individual based on one's membership in a particular social group. C. Discrimination occurs when someone acts on prejudiced attitudes toward a group of people.
My answer is B.
Sorry, the correct answer is C. Number 6. Which of the following statements about conflict management styles is correct? A. People who turn toward a dominating style show a high level of concern for others. B. People who turn toward an obliging style show a low level of concern for others. C. People who turn toward an integrating style seek for win-win results.
My answer is C.
Correct.
Thank you very much. And for this part, you got 2 points. You may now proceed.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Now, as for this video, we have found some points that really aroused our attention, and here we would like to share with you. First of all, allow us to make a brief introduction of the video. When it comes to its content, we have seen it relates basically to the culture of the company of Xiaomi and its entrepreneurial ideology, as well as its commercial patterns in its retailing and marketing overseas. Apart from that, it also relates to the history and the basic development of this company. So these are the things that we have seen in the video. We are going to start our theoretical approach to this case based on the contextualization of globalization. We're going to discuss how Xiaomi managed to adapt to different cultural contexts with its own identity forged and trying to conduct our theory to transculturation. Now, we may start the case. Catherine, so what was the thing that was most interesting to you in the video?
Well, I think first of all, I identify the fact that the staff and those senior officers from the Xiaomi corporation have a strong sense of identity. For example, when being asked of whether you think Xiaomi and Apple are somehow, let's say, equal, for Xiaomi in the Chinese market and for Apple in the United States market, and the senior manager responded as no. Because even though both of the brands are pursuing high product quality, they are different. They are different in some ways. For example, the Xiaomi Corporation is trying to lower the price down to make it affordable for most of the people in the market. So for the Xiaomi connotation, I think it has a great decipher when it comes to the brand's name. For example, the Xiaomi Little Rice derives from Buddhism, and it means start a movement, a bottom-up movement, that you start with nothing around you, and you can achieve the things you want by working hard. And also, Xiaomi also aims very high. not only gain this grand, let's say, majority in the domestic market, but also want to march to overseas and grant their reputation in the overseas market. And this is ME's, initial letters for Mission Impossible. And also, when you turn the Chinese characters upside down, and that would be the heart. So that's what Xiaomi's story is telling.
Yeah, definitely. So we can see that the cultural connotation of a company is definitely intertwined with its nation and the place that it's located in. And when it comes to your comprehension, Julia, what you've got to share?
The most interesting I have seen is the adaptation Xiaomi Corporation have been working on. First of all, on one aspect, Xiaomi is trying to build up fan communities in different countries. For instance, in Indonesia, when the flood is coming in, Xiaomi is arranging the fans to clear out the water on the stages. And for the Britain country, Xiaomi adapted to the people's exercise habits to build up running clubs, to have running races, and at the meantime, showing how Xiaomi's concept of gathering and cooperating is actually about. And on the other hand, Xiaomi is also working with Nokia as a corporation. So it is building up Finland's camera labs to fit in the Western aesthetic appreciations, and it's building up different types of techniques to fit in the environment of Western countries.
Yeah, definitely. So the culture is fluid in itself, as it is exemplified in the case of Xiaomi's development. And when it comes to my comprehension, I noted the cooperation based on commercial interest between Xiaomi and Nokia, which is actually an example of cultural relativism. Respect each other and find mutual interest, and then, based on this interest, develop reciprocally. But after such successful demonstration of Xiaomi's intent to blend itself into the global market, we should still ask, is the success of Xiaomi copyable or replicable?
Yes, I do think so. Well, we're stepping into the 21st century where there are so many brands around the world, and sometimes having the idea of a unique identity is so important. For example, for Xiaomi Corporation, the staffs know that they are unique in some ways, and therefore they have built this confidence within their identity. They know they are born in this collectivistic culture, and they also know how their cooperation developed, the history of the cooperation, and therefore the idea that they are making contributions to something that is great and unique makes them motivated and also proud.
Yeah, definitely. And under the circumstance of a success, we should definitely learn something, take some lessons from that. But at the same time, we should also ponder on the possible orientations that are going to take place in the future. Because as we are living in a globalized age, everyone is just like pieces on a mosaic, where everyone bears some kind of singularity. So based on this understanding, how can we reflect on the case of Xiaomi?
Well, talking about Xiaomi's example, the fluid culture is a very important keyword about Xiaomi's cooperation culture. It is evolving itself instead of just fitting in. It is trying to build up its own comprehension of how to have business communications and cross-cultural communications. Let's take the camera case, for instance, again. Even though Xiaomi has achieved a very high status in the Asian market, it is also knowing that there is a difference between Western and Asian markets, and it is on a cognitive aspect. And Xiaomi is working on the cognitive aspect and turning it into a behavior aspect to make it possible to fit in the Western cultures and making itself upgrading and embracing new kind of cultures and elements into its own culture.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for your sharings. And to sum up, living in this globalized age, no one can be an isolated island. And that's the importance which has been revealed by globalization to us. As Samuel P. Huntington stated in his book, The Clash of Civilizations and the Remaking of World Order, published in 1996, the world is just like a stage where limits and limits meet. Earthquakes may happen, tsunamis may take place, but that doesn't mean that the common ground upon which we stand will be shaken and even break down. Based on this understanding, we want to promote a dialogue relationship and a community-based relationship between different cultural subjects, because upon this common ground, we can understand each other, as it is exemplified in the case of Xiaomi, in its cultural campaigns, in its fan culture construction. Apart from that, it also promotes a lifestyle that can be a possible future orientation for people not only from China, but also from all countries from the world to share. And this is the philosophy of integration. This is the philosophy of globalization. Thank you for your listening.
Thank you.
Thank you for your analysis, and I'm thinking about some of the things you suggested on contextualization of globalization, the fluid adaptation of Xiaomi, its unique and strong cultural identity and Chinese spirit, and then this commercial cooperation. So my question is on applying these. So if you were hired by a company like Xiaomi, and especially asked to figure out how to keep doing or improve cross-cultural adaptations and intercultural practices that would increase their market share, what would you do interculturally?
Well, thank you for your question. If I were hired by Xiaomi to prompt this intercultural communication to help this corporation, this brand to move forward to overseas and to help the employees to adapt into this new environment, then I would say there are actually two stages of adaptation. The first stage would be cognition adaptation, and the second stage would be behavioral. So as we all know, the 21st century is a more globalized, or let's say regionalized century. And in this case, culture diversities and maybe leading to the culture conflicts would occur. So first, let my employees to know having those culture shock is okay. And just bear in mind that don't cringe when you are engaging or encountering those culture differences, and that will be okay. And the second stage would be behavioral adaptation. And this stage is to help the employees to get more blend in those culture activities. For example, the Indonesia case or the UK case we have mentioned in our analysis would also be applied by me when I'm hired as a program manager. So I think all in all, my main focus would be knowing that this cross-cultural communication, it's not about building a statue of making all the cultures blend in together to have the same sentiment to let's say, to build in and finally reach this homogeneity. It's about building a unity to have all the puzzle pieces that represents different cultures all blend together, and they can construct a building that can be modified, that can be updated as the time evolves. And that might be my answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Now we'll be moving on to telling a Chinese story. And the topic for you is, please choose one of China's world intangible cultural heritage items in the category of traditional handcraft skills and introduce it to a foreign friend.
I would like to choose traditional handicrafts of making xuan paper. I have never been a family-oriented person. I grew up in the family of my mom and my dad. Sometimes we go and meet with my grandparents, paternal and maternal. Sometimes we just live separately. One day, I was called to the house of my grandpa. He took out a pile of yellow paper, which was xuan paper, and said, "Kiddo, you have to do this for me. You have to use this pen, soft Chinese pen, and write all the names of the deceased family members of our family, of our clan that has been in somewhere else." So I was kind of startled because that was a huge, great, gigantic pile of xuan paper there looking at me, saying to me, "You have to write something on me." And as I write, I actually didn't come to realize the importance of things because I didn't have any clue of the names of the family members that were given by my grandpa for me to write on the paper. Year after year, I have been doing this for my grandpa, like 7 years, I think. And I have come to realize that the idea of Chinese sentiment, the idea of Chinese clan, and the philosophy of sticking together, living and striving, prospering as a community lies in the texture of that Xuan paper. When the ink, Chinese ink, gets soaken up in that paper, it creates a sensation of mixture, a mixture between the vague and the clearness, a mixture between death and life. It's relating to the Mexican funeral, Mexican Day, Dia de los Muertos, Day for the Died. They recall the dead, the evocation of the spirits. That day they come back, just as what my grandpa has asked me to do. It's a ceremony, it's a ceremonial move which evokes past memories, which brings back collectivism to this society where everyone is seemingly getting separated. So, to sum up, the philosophy is lying in every single object that we have in our hands. Xuan paper has been represented in my heart as a representation of Chinese collectivism and the spirit of sticking together. Moreover, I also want to relate to, at the end of my sharing, the concept of the famous philosopher John Locke. He said, "We are all tabula rasa," which is a blank board, which is just like the concept of Chinese Xuan paper. Because on that blank board, there is no completely blank space. Instead, there are several traits that can be found on that blank board. And our common sense as human beings starts with these traits as blank boards. And this is the philosophy that can be found in a comparative comprehension. Thank you for your listening.
Thank you very much for your performance. You may now just leave the stage from that side.